I am believing God to have men. If God has not called you, please, I'm believing God that a degree in Kenya is the least paper you can have. It is an introduction to confirm you can read. When you see the universities on top of a bar, that tells you degrees are useless. Don't be deceived by the celebration of your mother. In the days of your mother, and I love our parents, degrees were major things. In our day, you know it's not a major thing. Now you graduate, they come with a Nissan Imeko Matawi, and they decorate you like a Christmas tree. And you come to the village and look like you are intimidating everyone. You have begun in the path of intellectualism. There are certain things like there are certain things that, like, I was looking at how we were praying for America to discover the vaccine. Don't we have men that have brains in this land, that when they throw a virus like COVID, which was created in the lab, we have men that can speak in tongues and come up with the vaccine? And if the vaccine does not work, I remember I saw a certain woman from Nigeria who said, there is no COVID patient that has died in my hands. Because where vitamin C does not work, we lay the fivefold ministry and say in the name of Jesus. Is someone getting me? And that's why, like today, the problem of Kenya today is not the presidency, it's constitution. It's constitution. I saw the president being sworn in. He lifted the Bible. He never lifted the constitution. And he swore with the Bible to protect the constitution. So if the constitution has 47 counties and devolved corruption, every county has a governor. A governor has a first lady office, a senator, a woman rep, an MCA, an MP. We are overrepresented, and all these are channels of corruption. So how do you fix the constitution? You need lawyers that can graft something. We have prayed for the flag, but now we need lawyers. People that can study constitutions. Do you know the evangelical movement in America dictated the politics of America? That's why we have the Democrats and the Republicans. The values of the Republicans is 100% Christianity. We don't support abortion. I was told when Kamala Harris was having her campaign, they used to put a tent and then put some abortion tents. So you are doing a rally while people are aborting. The church influenced the politics of the land. They came up with a document that has outlived the men that were there in that day. Today, the work of the church is to say, ni huyu na si uchawi ni maombi. Then after 2 years, uchawi inasalimia maombi. Okay, let me stick to the word. Am I making sense? Because in my day, Christianity will be respected. In my day, we are going to be the solution of the world. We are going to have senior councils in judiciary. People that are going to rewrite the laws of the land. After Scotland entered the revival, I went to the UK. Mama's been going to the UK. You'll be so surprised. The infrastructure of the United Kingdom is nothing but the Bible. In UK, when you give an offering, the government matches the offering. So if we collect 100,000, we will record it. Tomorrow, the government will give us 100,000. The foundations of the UK, the New King James Version, that is a king who requested the Bible to be interpreted in his language. When you go to the palace, the first thing you find when you go to the monarchy where the king lives, the palace is there. The next thing is the church, and the king has a priest who speaks to him. Before they announced a town to be a municipality, what happened? A town had to begin as a parish, and after being established as a parish, it will now be announced as a municipality. And when the governor comes or the mayor comes in that municipality, he will collect tax and tithe the tax to the church. Now that is revival. That the governor of Nyeri, after tax collection, takes a tithe and brings it to church. And today, the currency, the pound, is one of the strongest currencies. You can see how Christianity infiltrated the system and shapes success. The reason why some of these countries are successful, their foundation is nothing but the Bible. The writers of the American Constitution were Jews. That's why they had to put on the dollar, "In God we trust." I know there is a pyramid there, the elitists, the Illuminatis and all that, but the ones who wrote the Constitution, majority were the Jews. Why? When the Jews left in the days of Hitler, they realized they are going to be extinguished. So what did they do? When they entered America, which opened their door, when they entered America, something happened. They went and became the technocrats. They became the engineers, the lawyers, the teachers, and they became the best. That is why a man like Kanye West will speak against the Jews. They are the least in America, but in less than 24 hours, companies are pulling out and they are saying anti-Semitic utterance. A community that entered, infiltrated, and is the one running America today. That is the kingdom culture. Whatever we call the 7 mountains, have you heard about the 7 mountains? That thing was birthed by the church. A man sat down and he began to ask, how can the church rule over the world? He studied, and by inspiration, he discovered there are 7 mountains of influence. One of them is governance, education, arts and entertainment, media, family. He looked at all this, religion. I looked at all the mountains. He said, whoever controls these mountains will dominate a territory. Guess who adopted the mountains and are implementing it now? The Freemasons. Today you talk about governance, you will be told the people that control the politics of the globe are called the Jesuits. When you enter into locality politics, you'll be told the Freemasons or the whatever people call the Illuminati are running the show. Look at the entertainment world. Who are the rulers of the entertainment world? It's the Freemasons. Yet this was an idea birthed by the church, but the men of the world saw the solution on how to dominate communities. Can I even tell you something? The highest rank of what they call the Freemason, the 33rd rank, it is a study of Solomon, because they cannot understand how a man like Solomon survived with authority, knowledge, power. Because they say in the days of Solomon, he had conquered all the demons that oppress communities. That's why his success, any power that hinders success, the man broke all the ceilings. So the Freemasons always study Solomon as a specimen. That's why their flag is like the Israel flag. And when you rise in the highest rank, they give you something called a Solomonic ring. Now, we have he that is wiser than Solomon is in us. Tell your neighbor, academics. Whatever is happening in our community, one of the ways to rule and control our people is make sure they are not learned. Do you know in America, you can't do politics during the day? You don't have rallies in the day in America. In Kenya, empowerment programs are beginning on Monday. Politics is Monday too, because those men are learned and they are busy. The only time you can do a rally is at night. And it is not more than 3 hours. You come say what you want to say and people go home and they digest. Listen, we will get there. Because this generation thinking must be different. Somebody say academic power. Somebody say intellectual power. There are tables you need to enter, and when you open your mouth, you're speaking solutions. You know we have demonized politics. Among the 12 disciples, there was a man called Simon the Zealot. That was a Gen Z who used to organize Mandamano. Go and Google about zealots. These were men who used to organize uprisings in the days of the Roman emperor, and they wanted Israel to be free from the oppression of the Romans as colonizers. And when Jesus was selecting the disciples, he chose one activist. Somebody say political power. I can dwell there because I have interacted with politicians, and one of the politicians told me, people think politicians are corrupt. And that politician told me, most of us are not corrupt. Then he showed me a deal. He said, Pastor, this is a dam being constructed in my constituency. This dam is worth 5.5 billion. I know the money that is needed. If I get a financier who will come and finance the dam and do the construction, I'm supposed to be given 3% or 5%. 1 by the government, 2 another percent by the financiers, because I've given them business. Now just do around 5% of 5.5 billion. We're talking about 200 million. Because you have Googled, you found someone in Italy who built dams. You've called them, you've verified, they've given you an offer, you've given to the government has approved, they have signed PPP, and you are part of that deal because you sit in a political seat. And you make your 200 million without robbing anyone. The next thing, I'm driving a big car, I am building a big house, and then you begin to say, this is our money. That's why politicians will never want you to get inside. What they see, they keep quiet. You will see an ordinary MCA. Mumekangana naye mumepiga hustle Nyeri, ameingia. In that parliament, wanaanza kusikia, do you know Mount Kenya, there is a conservancy, this conservancy, blah blah blah. If you look for someone to fund, blah blah blah, this is your money. And the man, because he's book smart, begins to look for people. After 2 years, he's in a big machine, and then you begin to say, na hizi ni pesa zetu. Listen, kama uko na maono ya kuingia siasa, mimi na kusupport. Ni chafu, usikiza, ni chafu. Bwana asifiwe sana. Na ni mbaya, lakini hatuwezi simama nje. Wacha tuingie ndani tumenyane. Can we have a conversation? Bursaries are given. Guess the people who benefit. Have you ever heard of a Pentecostal church being given land for building church? Because the Catholics, the ACKs and the PCAs are raising men that can enter. So when they go and hear there is a city coming up and this is community land, they know this land can be given to the church. Many Catholic churches never buy land. I come from Limuru. The Catholic church has more than 250 acres of land. I'm now buying 4.5 acres at 130 million. When will I ever catch up with them? And I'm not saying Catholics are bad. They are strategic. Every big politician goes to the Mofea. Kibaki was Wamofea. Uhuru was. Imagine if they were faithful tithing. Let's assume the president is a member of this church. Imkutano si hata lunch tungekula hata tuna fast by force. Tell your neighbor, we need to get in these spaces. If we have the right people in parliament, they will write the right laws. If we have the right people in the judiciary, they will make the right rulings. We can't stand from outside. And that's why now we can't again vote you because you're a child of a single mother. No offense. The point must be, do you know how to write a budget? Do you know how to contend? Can you write a law? Baada ya kukuonea huruma. You know, my MP where I come from, alipigiwa kura na hiyo kitu. Hajaiongea bunge. Hajawai. Sasa tunaumia. Kwa sababu vitu zikigawanishwa bunge, haezi ongea kizungu mzuri. Kwa sababu ni mtoto wa nani? Na sina ubaya, by the way sina ubaya. Na kuna watoto wa single mother that are very intellectual and they are doing very well. So kama hiyo ndio ilikuwa strategy ya kuomba kiti, badilisha. Look for something different. But am I making sense? Because majority of the business is not outside. The business is in government. The resources that are in Nyeri, I wish you can know. The things that are in Kenya, you can't finish. The resources that are just within this mountain, this one. The forests, the economic, the tourism, the things that are here, my goodness, you can't finish. Now imagine they are now building the Mau Mau Road. Is that true? Imagine if you're in that meeting and you knew how much they are giving for the man who will bring the tippers. Ibebe tu mchanga. One day, ile excavator inalipangwa 12,000 per hour. So ikifanya kazi 10 hours, hiyo ni 120,000. One, hiyo ni kichuma, hakiaribikangi. So someone has received the contract. Ameenda Equity, amechukua loan, ameleta kieskavator. You don't even know iki kichuma ni kia nini. By the time anamalizana na Mau Mau Road, wewe na maombi na makesha, economically you will never meet. Why? You are not where decisions are made. As a pastor, mimi siendi siasa, but we can take you there to go and listen and come and tell us there is an opportunity here. Let us put our resources here. And that's why some of those people, they don't come to church. Where do they meet? Golf course. Where else do they meet? In a bar. Deals are made there. Handshakes are made there. Where do we meet? In church. Some of you don't even know the name of your neighbor. Na vile tumepiga ndimi na tukijiprofesaia. We don't know how to network.